Hey guys, about 5 months ago I uploaded a pregnancy video just talking about my pregnancy up to that point, which I was around just finishing off my second trimester. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my last trimester, the labour and kind of the aftermath. During the last couple of months I've been asked a lot of questions specifically regarding my labour, so I'll be answering a few questions specifically to do with that. So I gave birth about, nearly 3 months ago now. She's so distracting. She's sitting next to me here. What are you doing? Woo. She's 12 weeks old now. Gave birth to a little girl. Her name's Mackenzie. Say hi. What's up? The last trimester of my pregnancy was quite rough. She was born with a head full of hair, so pretty much heartburn every single day, all day long. It was horrific. So by the time labour came around, I was pretty happy. Okay, so the most common question that I get pretty much every single time anyone talks to me about my process of giving birth was the obvious question, did it hurt? I don't really know what people expect an answer of that when they ask, does popping out, something this size out your hoo-ha hurt? I mean, do you want me to sugarcoat that? It tickles. Like, no, it hurts quite a lot. It's the most painful thing I've ever experienced. But at the same time, kind of going through that was quite a beautiful experience. Just knowing that your little one's about ready to come out into the world, and just being able to experience that for the first time was quite cool. I knew it wasn't like a permanent pain. I knew once I started feeling the pain that she was coming, that was it. She's going to be here really soon. So I kind of just used that to kind of motivate me to get me through. A lot of people also ask kind of to explain what the pain feels like. It is quite hard to explain. But for girls out there that obviously suffer from menstrual cramps, it's quite similar to that kind of type of pain, but it's a lot more intense. It's way more intense. Like, I don't think there are any words that can quite describe it until you actually go through it yourself. But yeah, it's not one of those things that you can kind of describe to people. You can just pretty much say, yes, it hurts a lot. Like, yeah, there's no real scale that you can put it on. My early contractions, when I had them at the time, for me were the most painful thing I've ever gone through. But they don't even compare to actual labour, like active labour contractions. They're, again, like even more, like, even to this day, months on from having her, I'm still amazed that I didn't die from the pain. Like, your body, you're just amazed when you go through that your body can cope with that kind of pain, because you just go through the pain and in the moment you just think to yourself, like, how have I not died? Like, how have I not collapsed from pain, passed out from the pain or anything like that? But your body's pretty much just made for it. So I think you just kind of, your body just goes with the flow, and your body knows what to do in that kind of moment. People have also asked me, did I know what to expect when having her? I've watched a lot of labour videos prior to having her. There was not a lot that could quite prepare you for it. You can kind of get an idea of what it's all about, but every single pregnancy is different. Every single experience that a woman goes through during her pregnancy and labour and even after is just totally unique. Even for the same woman with different pregnancies, it can be totally different from their first, second to third child, etc. So yeah, it is one of those things where you can never know what to expect. I found that researching a lot did help put my mind at ease, especially when it got to the point where she was kind of crowding, ready to come out, because I've watched a lot of videos and I knew that once she started coming, if I really kind of gave it everything I had, that she would have been out within a few minutes. Once I started pushing, she was out within, I think like 6 or 7 minutes, I think, from the time she started crowding to the time that she had come out. Another very, very common question that I'm pretty sure every woman gets after giving birth is, did you have her natural? I did have her natural. During my early labour, as I couldn't sleep because it was quite a long early labour, I had shots of morphine. And I just stayed in hospital overnight and just waited for my active labour to kick in. They originally wanted to send me home, but I pretty much told them that if I had gone home unable to sleep with no pain relief, I wouldn't have the energy to push her when she was ready to come. So they pretty much just gave me a shot of morphine and let me kind of rest in the ward until she was ready to come out. During my active labour, I had the gas, which ended up running out halfway through anyway. I didn't care. I didn't want them to change the gas tank because I think for me it was more my personal experience. I found that just the fact of breathing in through the gas mask alone was more of a placebo effect. And it helped me breathe and helped regulate my breathing, and that was a bigger pain relief than what the gas itself was. So once the tank had run out, I pretty much just kept breathing in air and just didn't bother with any more gas. Also, I had a water birth as well. Not too many women have that. I think it's something like 1 in a week across Australia will have a water birth. Originally I did want a water birth, just simply, the idea just intrigued me and it seemed like a really nice experience. But of course, you never expect kind of anything to go the way you want it to on the day. So I kind of just dealt with what I had and kind of just took it in the moment and just accepted any kind of birth that I was given, because I knew that if I made plans, anything would go wrong and then I'd be disappointed. So I kind of just went in there with no plans, no expectations, and everything pretty much turned out the way I had originally had hoped that it would. I originally just went in the bath during the beginning of my active labour, just to kind of, for a bit of pain relief, but by the time I wanted to get out, I sat there for 5 minutes and they said, look, you've either got to get back in the bath and have her in the bath, or you've got to have her on the bed. And I found it too painful laying down on my back, so I pretty much just jumped straight back in the bath and ended up having her in the bath. I had my mum and my partner in with me during the whole entire thing. They were very supportive. The midwives, though, they're not as hands-on as what you would expect. They pretty much let me do my own thing, kind of gave me my own personal space, which was really nice. Hey! Yeah, they kind of just gave me my own personal space, which was really good. I was kind of in charge then of my own labour, and it just made the whole process really, really smooth and very stress-free. People also ask what it's like having a water birth. I found it really quite nice. When she ended up coming out, I ended up delivering her myself and catching her myself and putting her up on my chest all by myself. The midwives were there, but they kind of just helped to kind of guide me so that I felt confident enough to do it on my own. And I found that to be a really nice experience because it just helped us with our bond really, really well. And when you're in the water as well, because there is a lack of gravity in the water, you do feel a lot less pain, because with her in you, it's not as much gravity, so it's not as much pressure on any part of your body as what it would be laying down in the bed. But yeah, I would definitely recommend water births for anyone that is looking into it or interested. If you have any more questions about water births or anything at all about pregnancy and labour, make sure to leave a question. Make sure to leave a question down in the comments. A lot of people also ask how long my labour was. The early stages of my labour was 30 hours, where my contractions were about 2 minutes long, 5 minutes apart. And then when my contractions began getting more regularly after my water had broken, when active labour kicked in, it was about 6 hours. In total, it was 36 hours from start to end, with only about 5 to 10 minutes of pushing. Okay, the next kind of questions I'm going to put a bit of a trigger warning on for, because they are a bit more kind of in detail and a bit more gruesome to some. So if you guys have a sensitive stomach, or you don't want to listen to this kind of stuff, then I suggest to click away now. I kind of left this at the end for that reason. Okay, another question I get is, what is it like when your water breaks? What does it feel like? It's warm. It basically feels like you're peeing yourself, but like it gushes out. Like it's really warm and you've got no control out of it. Like you don't push it out, like it just falls out of you basically. It does feel relief for me. I've heard some women say that it does hurt when they have to break it for you. For me personally, when my water broke, it didn't hurt at all. It actually felt like a relief, because when your stomach grows, it feels so tight. When the water breaks, it feels like it's just taking the pressure off your skin and your body from stretching out so much from holding a baby. Yeah, it put a lot of stress off me, and I knew that it was about to be over soon. I knew that it just hit the it hit real stuff. One of the main questions that people kind of ask, one of the main questions that people do ask that I think they don't really want to know the answer to because I don't like the answer to it is when you are pushing, when you do get contractions, do you pass your bowels? Simple answer, yes. Yes, you do. You know, you're pushing out something this big. Of course, everything else is going to come out with it. It's natural. I mean, I don't know how you'd have that much, you know, control over your muscles that you'd purposely push something like this out, and not everything else that's in your system. For me personally, I did pass my bowels at both ends. I was in the bath and the midwives were asking me, they said, you haven't been to the bathroom, do you need to go, you know, do you need a pee? My partner just looked at me, looked at the midwives, looked back at me, and pretty much looks at them and goes, she's kind of going right now, like, can you not see that? But when you're in that moment, like, you don't care. You don't care who sees you naked. You don't see, you know, to you it doesn't matter. Like, you don't care who sees you naked. You don't care who sees you pass your bowels. You just don't care. You're in that much pain. A lot of women, when they hear the idea of giving birth, they're like, oh my God, like, you're so exposed, you know, you're not really kind of in a state where you want people to see you. But when you're in that moment, you just do not care. For me, personally, anyway, I wouldn't care. I mean, some women, I don't know how they do it, that they still manage to care and get their privacy while going through that pain. If you've personally gone through labour and you did manage to still obtain your privacy and not have, you know, everything on show, even with going through that pain, please comment down below and tell me how you did it, because there's no way I could have done it. I mean, the pain was just that unbearable. Also, with another thing as well that people ask is, you know, like, they'll hear people screaming on videos and they'll go, that won't be me. So yeah, when I was arriving at the hospital and I was just getting into my room, I heard one of the women in the next room to me, and she was screaming, like, she was screaming for dear life. I looked at my mum, I was like, that's not going to be me, I'm not going to scream. As soon as my waters broke, active labour kicked in, I screamed like an animal for about 6 hours straight through every contraction. You kind of try to expect, oh, you're not going to scream, you're not going to pass your bowels, but you do. Like, a lot of people do. Like, that's something that you need to kind of mentally prepare yourself for, is the chance that that can happen, and it does happen to quite a lot of people. It's completely normal and nothing to be ashamed about, really. It's just all a part of it. Now, another thing that a lot of women ask about is tearing. If you tear, majority of women will tear during their labour. I had 2nd degree tears and I had stitches. They do it when a lot of people do tear. It's completely natural and normal to tear. They will pretty much stitch you up right after you've had them. But pretty much after giving birth, you're so numb down there, you're so in pain down there that the stitches just, you don't feel them. Like, you feel a little bit of pulling and that's it. Like, it doesn't hurt. For some people it does. For me personally, it didn't hurt at all. That was the least painful part of it. One of the last questions that I always get as well is, was it worth it, and would I do it again? And how many children do I want? Yes, it's 100% worth it. The feeling you get when you hold your children for the first time is just incredible. Like, there's nothing that quite compares to it. There's just nothing. There's no quite stronger love than for your own child. It's just, yeah. I would have her a million times over if I knew that she was the result of all that pain. And all this, I mean, look at her. She's 100% worth it, guys. I would do it again. I'd do it a million times over for her. I do want more kids. I want another 1 or 2 kids. Haven't got talk of when yet. We'll just have to see what happens in the near future. Do you want to do the outro, Bobby? Say bye!